Thanks for joining me, Carney. I'm very excited to be here at Win the Storm with Carney, CEO of CR3 American Exteriors. Why don't you tell us a little bit about CR3, what you guys do, what sets you guys apart?
I'll give you a little bit of quick background on myself and the organization. So I've been in construction literally my entire life as a young kid, and grew up in the industry doing new homes, remodels, stuff like that. My great-grandfather built and developed houses, grandfather built and developed houses, my father built and developed houses. So naturally, I always joke with everybody, I didn't choose this life, it chose me. So I knew at a very young age that this is kind of where I was going to spend the majority of my time at. So grew up in it, did recognize when we were doing interior remodeling and custom remodels, custom homes, that there was a really big demand for exteriors, and I saw it as very scalable. I recognized that there was like a heavy subcontractor model in this industry, and prior to that, me and my father had tool belts on. We were doing punch-out trim carpentry and stuff like that, and it just didn't seem super scalable. And at the time, I told my father, I'm like, dude, we got to figure out how to do $5 million in revenue. He's like, there ain't no way we could ever do $5 million in revenue. So I started to recognize, holy shit, this is like not overly scalable. So started looking at other different models and different sectors within the construction industry. And at the time, I landed on roofing. I recognized, okay, I can sell a product, I can put subcontractors on it, they can do the installation, and I can go find other people to service while these guys are actually doing the work. So that is super scalable. And in the fall of 2017, I decided that that's what I wanted to pursue and that's what I wanted to chase. So I decided I was going to step away from helping my father build custom homes, focus solely on exterior remodeling, primarily at the time roofing. And as luck would have it, the second I got into the industry, about 6 months later, a real good hailstorm hit my neck of the woods, and I knew everybody at the time, like they're in the local community. Very, very well established in that community. Got hit with a hailstorm. Next thing you know, I write $2.3 million in my first year. So that was kind of the catalyst that took us on the ride that we were about to experience. Second year in business, we did $7.7 million. Year after that, we did 10.3. And our fourth full year in business, we did $14.7 million. And at the time, I'm 26 years old, got a company that's doing just under $15 million in revenue. And private equity started banging on my door. And it sounds cool at 26 years old to have people who are interested in potentially buying your company, but it's also scary at the same time because at that point in time, the dollar amount would not be enough for me to go do whatever I wanted to do for my whole life. So it's like, holy crap, if I were to sell, I sell, sign a 3-year non-compete, I leave the industry. That's really the only thing that I know. Yeah. And then after the money runs out or it starts to diminish a little bit, what do? I'm probably going to go start another company. So we just recognized at that point in time that we weren't going to exit from the space that we were in. We were going to continue to push the issue and continue to grow. But what we did recognize was private equity was entering our space, and we had to make a decision as to how we were going to continue to grow for self-preservation, selfish reasons. I had to make sure that myself, my team, and my organization was protected, and we were going to be able to continue to grow. But then also we started looking around and recognized that, well, I was very fortunate to get into the space 2017 when it wasn't overly commoditized. Well, now that it is becoming very commoditized, everybody wants to be a roofing contractor. Private equity is getting involved. It's very hard to compete for that attention. And I recognize that, man, if somebody wants to start a roofing exterior company in 2025, a hell of a lot harder now than what it was in 2017 when I started. So once again, we looked at it for like self-preservation, but then also looked at it as a means for other people who simply because of timing want to get in the space, but it's much harder than it used to be. So what we did was we kind of did an analysis of where we wanted to go, spent about 24 hours and landed on franchising and said, that's the direction that we want to run. So in the summer of 2022, drew a line in the sand. So we're going to put our effort and energy towards franchising this company. And in the spring of 23, we were able to go to market. And as I talk to you today, halfway or so into 2025, we got over 20 active locations servicing about 16, 17 states, and things are moving in a very positive direction, so we're excited.
Yeah, that's exciting. it's been amazing to see that growth trajectory from when you guys came on with us at ProLine to where you are today. I mean, I see it, and it's awesome. Users are going up. The users are going up, and the new franchisees that I see you guys bringing on, they're really high quality, high performing guys, and they're executing well, and they're some of our most successful new users on the platform because they're coming in with that support from you guys. So we see their usage of the platform go up very fast. Their adoption of all of these technologies go up very fast. And so I think that speaks to how you guys run the organization and then the support that you're giving to these teams.
Yeah, no, it's very cool because like we do our part, but we have to have the right platform to be able to do that. So when we got together with you guys, one of the big things for me was creating that system and that process, and then allowing the franchisees, our strategic partners, the ability to manipulate and change what I was okay with them changing without them completely changing the model or the concept. And fortunately, you guys had a system and a platform and were willing to work with us to achieve that, where we were able to create certain permission profiles around what these individuals can do, what they can see, what they can. And then, of course, with us being a franchise concept, they have to adopt the technology. So to your point, when you have users that potentially could be struggling, well, we're supporting our own people because we need to. We need them to perform. We need them to do well. And they need to be able to leverage the technology that we have. But it was really nice to be able to play with the permissions and the custom capabilities from our perspective with you and your team to be able to limit what these individuals can and can't do. And honestly, I think it created a faster adoption where they didn't have to focus on the setup. They didn't have to focus on building out the custom campaigns and what are we going to do about merchant fees and how are we hooking all this stuff up. We have somebody full-time that's dedicated to servicing the ProLine product as well as technology. You guys obviously support it, but our franchisees are able to walk into a turnkey system that's pre-built out, ready to go. They only have cert permissions, so they can just focus on one or two main things, which is selling projects and producing them, and not have to worry about all the other advancements. And then as your team continues to make advancements, my team's job is to look at those advancements, look at the new updates that are happening, figure out whether we should adopt it, when we should adopt it, should we wait, should we not, should we test it first? And it's just been a great relationship, honestly, man. And we're super stoked to see where we are in less than a year with you guys and where we see this thing going over the next 5 to 10 years with you guys.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome on our end as well. What I love about that approach, that experience that you're giving to your franchisees is there's really two types of software platforms. There's two buckets. You have the ones they hold your hand and they don't really let you customize anything. It's just like, this is how it works. Mm-hmm. And then you have the systems that are really customizable and they let you tweak every single detail. But the downside to that is that a lot of people don't know what to do with that level of control. ProLine falls into that more complex category. We're very robust, very customizable. However, we still want to be able to serve these guys that don't need or want that level of control. And so our philosophy has always been to try to make it very highly customizable for the admins of the accounts. Mm-hmm. And then for the day-to-day users, it should feel like, oh, this is just how it works. Right. Very simple. And you abstracted that out, so now it's not only the everyday sales reps in these companies, but the entire organization for each one of these franchisees is able to sort of relax and be like, it's set up. Ideal for me. It's good to go. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about customizing templates or tweaking these calculations. Their team's doing that on the franchise side. So it's it's the best of both. Correct. We're able to work with you guys to dial it in. But we're able to still also provide that robust platform. So it's a great relationship. Mm-hmm. Great relationship. One thing I was going to ask you is before you came on with us, I know you were evaluating a lot of different options. As a franchise, you have unique needs. Can you walk me through that process? What was your biggest concerns as you started looking for the right platform, tech platform for your franchise platform to be on?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and anybody who knows me and knows me well knows that I try not to make emotional decisions, which is tough because you have pressure from outside circumstances, you got pressure from your team internally, you got pressure from the franchisees, and you feel like I got to make a decision, but I don't want to make the wrong one. So try to eliminate the emotional side of it. And we met with everybody. We met with every big name that anybody's in this space that they know, and we voiced the things that we needed, and nobody had it. There were a few that were kind of close, but when they showed us it, we're like, nah, you don't get it. Which would be all the enterprise level roll-up reporting, the ability to customize permission profiles and what people can and can't do, and to fragment the billing, and the franchisees they're responsible for their own billing at their local level. It's just a jumbled up mess, and it was very difficult to try and find somebody that was able to fit, I wouldn't say all of our needs, because we still have needs, right? And you guys are working on helping us through all of that, but at least fit the majority of the pain points so we can make a decision this is the direction that we're going to go. And once again, we met with them all. We met with the biggest and the baddest, and we met with some up-and-comers. You guys at the time were an up-and-comer. And what impressed me the most with you and your team was when we met you, we told you what we wanted, and you were straight up with me. You said, Carney, I don't have that right now, but I can build it in about 2 weeks. And we actually thought you were full of shit. We're like, there ain't no way this dude's about to build this whole super admin piece of this business in about 2 weeks. But sure enough, you did what you said you were going to do. You took a leap and decided to put some development effort and time into it. I had not made a commitment at that point to anybody. You built this platform, sent me a loom, said, hey, check out what I built. And that really made us look at it and consider, holy crap, look how fast AJ and his team can move. Who else in the industry can move that fast and just build something and push it out live? So the fact that you were able to build it that fast, but you and your team understand a lot of what we need as a contractor, and you guys are very forward thinking. The way that you guys have built the platform, I don't know the back end and the inner workings of it, but just through having conversations with you and some of your team members, you guys built the platform with very forward-thinking intentions of, hey, we're going to construct it this way, but we know there's use cases for this stuff. We might not have a use case for it today, but when it does come, we know we'll be able to make some minor tweaks. We'll be able to turn these things on live on the fly very, very quickly. So that was one thing that really stuck out to us. And then we just felt good. After meeting you, after meeting some of the team, I had previously been with a company called Job Progress, which is now Leap. And I got with them in the early stages of them developing that CRM system and getting to know the different individuals, the attention to detail from some of their team members. I missed that feeling. I lost it when they got acquired. So I was kind of searching for that feeling. Got fortunate enough to end up meeting some of your team, and that was one of the big reasons for me was, hey, I understand that you guys may not be the big player today, but I'd see where you guys are heading. You're focused on the right things. You guys understand the benefit with partnering with somebody like us. You guys are willing to invest a lot of your time and effort and energy into developing this thing with us. And it was when we met about a year ago in RoofCon, it was a no-brainer from that point. We decided that that's the direction that we wanted to go, and the gamble paid off. It's been pretty good, so we're excited to see how it continues to grow.
Here's how roofers make it home for dinner every single night without losing a single sale, even when they're one-man shows. Automate your communication with ProLine, the only communication-first CRM for roofers. Because when you fix your communication, you'll sell more jobs. Your weekends will smell more like sunscreen and backyard barbecues than that crappy gas station coffee. And all you got to do is ask these roofers.
Where we had about 200% growth, and I attribute that to incorporating ProLine.
But just with one automation, I was able to get 25 Google reviews.
It's been absolutely insane how quickly we were able to grow.
Now, ProLine's not going to win the beauty pageant, but it will save your Saturday. Now, back to the show.
I love it. I appreciate it. It's been such a great ride. It's been awesome to shape that super admin functionality with your guys' use case and work so closely with you and be able to implement that feedback. And I think, like you're saying, I think you brought something up, and we're approaching super admin the same way we approach the main account, which is when we're building things, we try to anticipate all the different ways that something might be used, and then make it flexible enough that if somebody came in and wanted to use it differently or wanted to adjust it, they can. And so even with super admin, we've set it up in such a way that not everybody's going to have the exact same, or multi-entity organization is going to have the exact same process as you or setup as you. And so we've made it where some organizations can come in and control their franchisees differently, have different permissions for the franchisees, or they could be portfolio companies in like a PE aspect. Or so we've made it very flexible at that same time, but. While we're doing that, we're always making sure that for your use case it was going to work right. So definitely appreciate you being involved in that process so heavily. I think we're headed in the right direction with it, and we're still developing the super admin quite quickly. So there's still a lot more we want to build on that.
Super admin, is it okay if I brag about it a little bit?
Go, please.
So super admin and what it does for us is like the ability to just jump into an account and manage an account or make a quick little tweak and a change in an account. Like that's one thing. But now that we're able to get some reporting, I can see system-wide reports for the entire organization. I can see how many projects we sold last month. I can see how many quotes went out. I can see how many leads were generated system-wide. I can see what the average turnaround time from when a job gets sold until it's closed. I can see, like I just looked at it the other day, it was 24 days. I don't know if that's good or bad. I looked at it. It's interesting data, right? So we can see how much we can press the issue there. I'm working with you and your team about different lead source reports so that we can see, okay, we have right now 20-odd organizations that are all running different types of marketing strategies and campaigns, and we're trying different partners and just really just testing what works in the marketplace. And instead of guesswork, we can look, okay, these lead sources are performing very well, or maybe these lead sources perform very well in the Northeast, but they don't perform very well in the Southeast. Like, can we start to recognize and identify different trends and stuff like that? We're looking at ways to connect the API so that we can do big level connections for the entire organization versus having a million different zaps all over the place. So it's the functionality of it, and the things that we can do today are freaking awesome and phenomenal. And the things that I see that we're going to be able to do in the next 365 days, it's going to be really cool and really powerful. Like, I don't want to give away too many of my trade secrets, but like we met on a revenue share model because we're a franchise. We make money off of royalties. So when our franchisees generate revenue, we get a portion of that revenue, which is we're sharing the customer's money. So, well, how do we make that a better experience for us as an organization, the collections process of it? How do we make it better for the franchisee so they don't have some type of financial burden at the end of every single month or biweekly, however you decide to charge as an organization? How do we just go ahead and pull our fee right out of every transaction that they get through ProLine? And then that way the franchisee has a very good snapshot of their financial health. It's like, I refer to it as like taxes. If you have an employee and you're not taking payroll taxes out and that employee has a tax burden at the end of every month, most of you are going to spend your money. You're not good enough at managing your personal finances to save enough money to pay Uncle Sam. Most of you would get yourself in a predicament, right? And we're in a high ticket industry where average transactions $15,000, $20,000. The numbers get big really, really quick. So we were looking for a way to make it better for us, make it better for the individual franchisee. So when they look at their operating account, they know like, oh, this is the financial health. This is the amount of cash that I have. And with Super Admin, go ahead and make a few little tweaks, talk to the merchant, the processor at the merchant company. And then next thing you know, now fast forward, effective next month, every time that a franchisee gets paid, we get paid. And how great is that? It helps me with cash flow. It helps them better recognize their cash flow and manage how much money they have in their operating account. So the custom capabilities of this thing and the power that it has today and the power that it's going to have in the future. I'm stoked to continue to build it with you guys, and anybody that has that enterprise level platform that they're operating in, multiple EINs, multiple different business entities. You're crazy if you don't have some type of super admin platform. And the custom capabilities with you guys, I put blinders on when I get with people. Now that I'm with you guys, I don't look around at what AccuLynx is doing or what Service Titan is doing, and we know they got a good product, but I can't imagine they have what me and you've built together in the last 6 to 8 months. I just find it hard to believe.
Yeah, I don't think much has changed in that time over there, but anything. But again, I also have blinders, so focused on our things. But it was super important to us. I think it's gotten become even more important to us because we've seen the success of our relationship and our all the franchisees that are in your platform. But it was always something that we wanted to prioritize: is how do we serve these organizations that are working with a number of different companies? Because we're only one company, we're only one team. We can't go in and get that deep with every single contractor.
Right.
And it's one of the things with the other platforms that we've seen is people's frustration with not being able to get enough support, not being able to get the information they need on how to set up their account. And so, we're doing everything we can from the support side to make sure that there's enough accessible support, that people that are well trained. However, there's no replacement for what you offer, which is that deep partnership, financial partnership with them, where you're able to really take care of the big picture for them.
What do you guys want?
On the tech, square these things away. And so, it's just something that we're going to keep investing in more and more heavily. And we're doing that through the Super Admin platform, continuing to build that out. It's the one thing. So I have a development background. I'm technical. But I've been slowly kind of letting our dev team take the wheel. And now our development team and all of our VP of product, he completely manages the main bulk of ProLine now. I'm out of that. Super Admin is the one thing that I'm still personally coding on, and so eventually, we'll have a separate team that works on Super Admin specifically. But in the meantime, it's my current baby.
Well, and it's so important right now, the current state of the roofing and exterior industry. We're seeing massive consolidation.
Yep,
tech companies are getting bought, distributors are getting bought. Roofing contractors are getting richer and richer by the day. This industry is consolidating. Whether people want to recognize it and acknowledge it or not, it is what it is. So the people who invest their time and energy into this enterprise type model and this super admin type development, it's a necessity. It's a survival skill, in my opinion, at this point, for you and your team to recognize it. You're still going to have those individual users. I'm not screaming that every mom and pop shop out there is just going to completely vanish, but it's going to be incredibly hard to compete in the next 5 to 10 years. And the overwhelming majority of business that gets done in the United States will be by either a franchise or a PE-backed firm. Zero question about it. In the next 5 to 10 years, PE-backed firms and franchises will do more volume and more work as an overall percentage than anybody else in the nation. So there's a huge demand for it, and I'm not a tech guy, so I understand. 31 years old, I understand technology pretty well, especially given the industry that I'm in and the time that I'm in here. But I don't understand it to the extent that you do. But it's my understanding that a lot of these CRM companies, a lot of these tech companies, the way that they built and constructed their platform makes it very hard for them to move very quick. They're Freightliners. They're not speedboats. It takes them a long time to turn and change course, because most of them, when they built their platform 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, they built it based on that current environment. Whereas you guys are building in real time, and you're able to make these real-time adjustments so much faster than anybody else because you're building on today's technology. You don't have to break everything down and strip it down to nothing and just a complete revamp and rebuild. But it's a necessity right now. If you're with a CRM company that is not focused on that, I would caution you that that's probably a really bad thing. Even if you want to remain to be a mom and pop, it's probably a really bad thing because their funding's about to slow down when the bigger players go other places and pull hundreds, if not thousands of users away from those platforms, and those platforms are no longer making the type of money that they're supposed to. Then they're going to start to reduce support, they're going to start to reduce the development efforts, and then you're going to see advancements at those organizations slow down. I don't think they'll ever stop, but they'll slow down. And as a mom and pop shop, as a singular user, that's something that you should be concerned about as well. Not just like, do I need super admin, but like you need to be with an organization that's continuing to grow and develop at the rate that the industry is. Because if that organization, even though it might work for you today, is not, with technology changing, your competition getting better, all of the other tech companies changing, if they are a sinking ship, it's going to be very bad for you and your business, whether you are looking for an enterprise concept and a software that can support it, or you're a mom and pop. You need to make a decision to work with people who are forward thinking and understand where the industry's headed as self-preservation. If you're a singular unit and that person or that organization's not developing it in that capacity, they're going to run out of money. So it's an interesting time to be a roofing and exterior contractor.
It certainly is. Yeah, I mean, you're pointing to a big thing that's happening, and that is that technology is just moving faster every single year.
So fast.
It's accelerating at such a rapid rate that the acceleration, the speed of change from a technology standpoint is the only thing you could really rely on. And so we're approaching this in the way that we've built our platform, and the way that we approach technology is we assume that almost everything in every aspect of our platform, I need to blend that guy, right? But we assume that pretty much every aspect of our platform.
So loud. I think he was holding the shingle for 3 minutes.
That he made it. But we basically assume that every aspect of our platform is going to have to get rebuilt in the next 18 to 12, 24 months, maybe even 12 months. Right. So we approach technology and development with that in mind. A lot of technology companies, pretty much all the sort of the legacy technology players, have this assumption that this cool new thing that is software on the cloud, if we just build it, then we can sit on it indefinitely and it'll be good. And so they underestimated the acceleration of the rate of change. We're not doing that. We're assuming that that the only thing that we can rely on is that it's going to change. It's going to change, and it's going to change faster. Yeah. It'll change faster next year than this year. Yeah. So we're setting everything up with a foundation that's built very heavily from a development standpoint in artificial intelligence, in the flexibility of being able to operate on, not being super tied in with individual platforms, or we're very nimble. Right. Even as we get much bigger, we keep that ability to move and change. So that's something it's absolutely critical. These are the things that keep me up at night. Is like, not how can we compete this year, because that's important, but even more so, like, how is our organization set up to be able to compete in 1 year, 2 years?
How do we remain relevant for a decade?
Yes, absolutely. And so, it's an exciting time. But like, I think you made another good point here about your sort of mom and pop shop, which there's still a ton of those and still a great business. However, it is getting harder every year, and I think one of the big reasons it's getting harder is because there's so much powerful technology now. How it's very difficult for a mom and pop shop when they're answering the phones themselves. They're like in the traditional mom and pop, things that they're using a system, or they're even doing it on paper. The gap between their efficiency and kind of revenue per head with a company that they have AI agents answering the phones. They're using AI in every part of their process to nurture leads, follow up with leads. They have a system that makes it super easy for them to plug people in and out for different roles. They're able to keep all their data really squared away, and then have automations that are going back and and following up on old dead leads to resell them again and anticipate when those leads are going to, or when those homes are going to need a new roof. All these things, like having all that built into a platform where it just runs. And so, comparatively, you can have 3 people doing the work of what used to take 10 to 15 people. How do you compete with that? You either have to get insanely good at figuring out and building out that technology, or you got to work with an organization like you guys that had you already figured it out. You plug them in.
The problem is, so I'll take a $10 million company as an example. $10 million a year in revenue. You have a $10 million a year in revenue company that doesn't understand technology, doesn't understand AI, hasn't integrated with a really good software and spent the time to build it out. How does that company compete and stack up against one that has done all of it? And like we've had a reduction in staff I own a location, and it's the largest location at our org, and I had a reduction in staff once I turned ProLine on. And I'm looking at it, scratching my head, saying, we're probably going to have another reduction in staff once some of these AI agents come. And whether it's a reduction or moving people to different revenue-generating activities and finding other places for us to leverage those individuals with a skill set, right? Yeah, there's, who knows what that looks like. But when you look at it and you're like, wow, if I power technology, and let's say the technology to run a $10 million company that's fully integrated in it, let's say it costs $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month. Well, that's less than one clerical employee.
Right.
So if you're, and I'm not saying that technology should replace every human that exists. I actually am completely against that. Yeah. But I can't ignore the time that we're living in, right? So when you're competing against the $10 million org that's adopted all this, that has way less overhead, and you go head-to-head at a customer's table and you find out that this person's selling at X dollars per square on a roof or siding, how the hell can they do that? Well, their overhead's less than you. We're like, well, they're bigger. They got to have the same overhead as us, or even sometimes even maybe more. Well, no, they've leveraged technology and systems to reduce overhead. They can take your lunch every day of the week because you're not. You have more overhead than them. So yeah. The problem that you have with the 2 different $10 million companies is no matter what, at some point in time, somebody has to be the responsible party to build out that technology. And to your point, we do that. I personally wasn't a good utilization of my time, but I saw it as such an important part of our business with the CRM system being what it is in roofing and exteriors. I dedicated about 90 days of my personal time to focusing on building everything out with ProLine and having it dialed in. Who can spend, and that's not because your platform's not user-friendly, it's because that's the type of dedication that it takes to build it and build it right. Who can do that? When you're running a $10 million organization, you might be selling, you're dealing with managing and hiring, training, developing employees, you're looking at the books and records, you're looking at your finances, you're looking at strategic ways to continue to grow and keep the company relevant, you're looking at marketing initiatives, which are ROI, right? You have too many things to do that you can't dedicate 90 days to build out a platform. So what ends up happening is most people end up getting a CRM system or this new piece of technology that they got sold a bill of goods on. It may or may not work. But at the end of the day, they've never put in enough time to actually build it and build it properly because they don't have time. Yeah. So that's why with the franchise concept, we've done all that heavy lifting. We've built it out as good as we possibly can. Maybe you'll object, but as good as you possibly can on your platform, because we have put so much time, effort, energy, money, and resources behind building that it's unaffordable for your average roofing contractor to be able to do that. Now, everybody,
for sure.
It's incredibly difficult. Now, everybody in our group, current and new coming in, gets to reap the benefits of that. And then when there are advancements and there are new updates that are being pushed out and new features, we can look at it, figure out the best way to adopt it, and then push it out. And it's not as big of a lift for our franchisees to adopt that. Most people, I would imagine, get with a CRM system. They come out with a bunch of variations and advancements over the next 3 to 5 years, and they're probably stuck using the same model they were 3 to 5 years ago. Yeah. And the technology, the systems, the processes, everything it's already outdated. So it moves very quick, and you have to be able to move very quick, but you have to be able to have the time to invest in it. Most people just simply don't have the time.
100%. I mean, and so now, yeah, you're making a good point here, which is first of all, you invested 90 days. It's very hard for anybody. It was hard for you to do. It's something that we have to struggle through with everyone that joins our platform. Is like, hey, like it's a robust platform. You've got to invest a lot of time, and not everyone is able to do that. But then also on that ongoing basis, it's not like you can go dive deep for 90 days and then just be like, oh, well, we're good.
Yeah, it's done.
It changes too fast. The technology changes too fast. And, just like I was saying, we move with the technology. So we're moving at a very fast rate. We're launching new features almost daily because we're looking at, okay, what's the next step here that we have to have? And for your everyday contractor, they can't be sitting down every day to learn like what changed in the technology today. And so you're able to you have staff.
We have a team that meets with your team weekly to talk them how to advancements
and just to learn it and implement and pull it over. And yeah, so I think that's just massive value. So yeah, I love it. Well, we can wrap up here. What's your goals here at Win the Storm?
Meet people, man. This how I got to meet you and your team was we met you prior, but at RoofCon. So the different relationships that are developed, the more that we're out in the industry, the more that people see us, whether it's vendors or other contractors or whatever, the better shot that we have of making a good impression. So obviously we're here to try and find other people for our concept, but it's more about just getting out into the marketplace, educating people on who we are, what we're about, and the different relationships that come out of it. And like I said, RoofCon about a year ago is how we really got integrated with you. It's how we got the warm fuzzies and decided to make a decision to move forward with you. One of our marketing partners we met there, one of the partners that does a lot of our direct mail we met there. So the relationships that come out of stuff like this is worth every penny of being here.
I love it. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yep, likewise, man.